Hello everyone. Today me and my group members will be presenting to you our learnings from the chapter 7th of the textbook, and we will see the effect of right and wrong persuasion using different cases. So moving on to the introduction. So throughout the presentation we will talk about tenor and its failed predictive analysis and how they overcame it, and we will see keys to persuasion. We will see how many persuasive efforts backfire and more, and we will also see examples from presidential campaigns, how they affect us, how US banks and the response rate cases affect us, and how human is a quantum particle. So moving on to the Telnor case. So Telnor had an existing predictive analysis method in the past. They used the churn model. In a churn model, which is basically predicting parting customers, and based on the number of customers that are parting, they design and develop a plan to retain them. So this type of churn model is mostly selected by almost all the executives, as it involves retention and not acquisition. And as everyone knows, acquisition is always expensive when compared to retention. While following this method, Telnor made a huge mistake. So back in that time, around 2001 and 2004 to 2004, European countries had made a mandatory rule to accept mobile portability. So what Telenor did was they reminded their customers to renew their contract, but little did they know that they also reminded their customers that they were now free to leave the company, the mobile brand, and this backfired a lot for Telenor. So Telenor had to come up with plans to overcome these negatives, and they decided to bring changes in their system, and they tried different things and models, and they finally reached to a solution that was uplift modeling. So the uplift model, it predicts the influence of individual behavior by experimenting different approaches. What they do is they keep on asking different questions. What they did was kept on asking different questions until they found the correct one, exact one. This then The questions that were asked initially were which customers would be persuaded to buy, and then finally it was decided and finalized that the questions will be which customers will be uplifted and persuaded to stay instead of buying. What were the effects of these questions that it had on the company? After these changes, the company witnessed an increase of return of investment by 11%. The churn rate had reduced to 36%, and the campaign costs also reduced to 40%. So, what do we learn from these cases? This case teaches us that one wrong brochure can lead to a huge backfire, and it can lead to a huge loss for the company henceforth. So, asking the right questions to pursue a customer is an important part of predictive analysis. This is all from my side. Now, moving on to the next part.
This picture illustrates how most of the company calculate response rate. They just look at the list of the customer contracted and count the number of response, while they often forgot to take a look into account the number of the customers that were not contracted. It's important to count both customer contracted and customer not contracted to judge how successful campaign is. This slide shows how standard response model predict who will buy if contracted, which is not the same as who will buy because they were contracted. The question, will the customer buy only if contracted, is a two-in-one query, which tells the difference that will result from one treatment over others. In this slide, we will talk about response uplift modeling by addressing a composite of two questions. Each individual belongs in one of four conceptual segments that distinguish along two dimensions. The lower light segments are known as persuadable. These persuadable won't buy it if not contracted, but will be will buy if they are. These are the individual and uplift model aim to flag with the affirmative prediction. An uplift model provides the opportunity to reduce cost and unnecessary mail in comparison to a traditional response model. This is achieved by suppressing from the contact list those customers in the lower left quadrant.
Hi, so I'm gonna talk about the quantum human. So, as Nicolas Cage has said, here's the thing about the future. Every time you look at it, it changes because you looked at it. So, basically, the human is based upon quantum physics, which is unknowable. You don't know it, like quantum particles. For example, you don't know what is gonna influence somebody if a person is gonna purchase something based upon a brochure or not if they send it to him. So now let's see an example where a person named Bill receives a brochure, then purchases, and the same thing goes for no, and where Bill does not receive a brochure and does not purchase. In this case, we conclude that the choice of treatment does have an influential effect on Bill. He is persuadable. In other cases, the answers to the question agree, such as in this case, we conclude the choice of treatment has no influence. He would buy either way. This type of customer is called a sure thing. If he receives a brochure or he doesn't receive a brochure, he is gonna buy that thing. There are some other examples of quantum humans, such as if the brochure backfires and the customer doesn't buy, if otherwise he would have bought it. However, it's a fantasy of knowing it all. We don't know the answer to both of the questions, and we don't know what the customer is thinking, so it's quite unpredictable. One option is we can check how likely is the individual to be influenced. Or uplift modeling is a predictive modeling that predicts on likelihood of an individual to be influenced. Thank you so much. This was all from our side. Hope you liked our PPT. Thank you.